Hi, I'm Jo Ann Woodsum, a solo practitioner specializing in commercial leasing law. I've been a lawyer for a long time, and I know that there's a lot to wrap your head around when it comes to commercial leasing. The goal of my podcast, the Commercial Leasing Diva Podcast, is to make your lives as commercial leasing professionals easier and more fun. In the podcast, I speak to other commercial leasing professionals who share their expertise so that we can all improve our commercial leasing game and better serve our clients. This year's California Lawyers Association annual Real Property Conference took place on March 24 and 25 at the beautiful Sonoma Mission Inn. For the first time, the annual Women in Leasing Law Symposium took place in conjunction with the Real Property Law Section annual conference. The Women in Leasing Law Initiative organized and sponsored 4 MCLE sessions at the conference this year. The conference consisted of a day and a half of programming, which integrated wellness, networking, and educational panels. Programming began with a panel of women lawyers discussing the impact of the pandemic on the practice of law generally and on women lawyers in particular. This was followed by a networking session where attendees caught up with old friends and made new acquaintances. Saturday morning started bright and early with optional yoga and fitness classes, followed by breakfast with keynote speaker Michelle Galloway, who spoke about stress, your brain screaming, pay attention, and how that can help you succeed in law practice. After additional MCLE sessions, we very much enjoyed lunch with keynote speaker Judge Nomoto Schumann. Then, following additional MCLE seminars, we gathered for a seminar on wine law, which was followed by a wine tasting in the lovely Sonoma sunshine. The final event of the evening was dinner and dancing. It was really an amazing event, and I really encourage everyone to consider attending the 2024 conference in Palm Springs, which we are busy planning right now. I was very involved with the planning of this year's annual conference and was very excited about the quality of the panelists. At this year's conference, we provided 13.5 hours of educational sessions on real property, wellness, and ethics topics. Many of the attendees that I interviewed learned helpful practice tips on commercial leasing in 3 sessions, advanced issues in subleasing, restaurant leasing, and understanding the difference between office, retail, and industrial leasing. Other standouts were the annual Real Property Law Case Roundup, the ethics of remote working, and residential real estate transactions. Many folks also appreciated learning about the complexities of wine law. When I interviewed folks who had attended the conference, a number of them had very interesting reasons for why it was important to them to attend the annual Real Property Law Conference. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this. So What I'm doing is sort of doing a series of quick interviews with people who attended the conference, and then we're going to swirl them all together and create little podcast episodes so people who attended or didn't attend will get a flavor of the conference.
So I have to tell you that I was so busy the week before the event that I really didn't want to go. I was dreading it. I would have rather have stayed home and worked all of that Saturday.
I had very similar feelings.
Yeah, and so it just felt like an obligation as I was heading out there.
As a solo, you kind of live in this silo. And so you deal with clients, you deal with brokers, and you deal with once in a while your colleagues, but you can feel kind of a little bit removed.
Even just getting to the breakfast and sitting down and having breakfast with people that I had not met before, but we had connections on clients and with other people that we knew. Immediately I just felt, oh, this is collaborative.
When I go to the Real Property Retreat, I'm like, these are my people.
This is my people. This is the team.
I can talk about this all weekend.
We completely reshaped the idea of what these retreats would look like. They had always previously been held in Northern California, kind of in Napa, at the Silverado Hotel, or somewhere in San Francisco. And there's always a great following at those events. I mean, we were very well attended, up to about 200 people, I think. So those were great, but that wasn't really what our members were wanting anymore.
Sometimes it can be a little bit disappointing when you go to a beautiful space and then you're spending time in meaningful seminars, but then you would like to enjoy the environment as well.
So having these 3-day conferences that were just exhausting. I mean, you leave at the end of the 3 days and you've been sitting in seminars all day after having a crazy busy work week, and then networking with new people on top of that. It's draining. I mean, even 2 days of it is draining.
Well, look, it's easy. You can go and you can get all your CLEs, not all, but a lot of them in one place. But that's not why I go. Honestly, if that's why you're going to go, you'll be fine. I love to go to see the people I'm working with and to get to know them better.
We were trying to figure out how we can scale it down, but still make it valuable to our members. And that's how we sort of came up with the 2-day, or like a day and a half conference.
I think it's extremely worthwhile because I like to go to conferences where I can get substantive learning in, but having the wellness component adds another dimension to it.
Health and wellness has always been something that's super passionate about in my life, and my personal health difficulties and challenges that I've had over the last 3 years now have made me change my perspective on what things are important to me specifically, and health and wellness is one of them. And so incorporating that into our retreat was something that I really wanted to do, and it was sort of a new idea, and I think that it has been received very well by our attendees, and the fact that people are recognizing that we as lawyers need something more than just our work.
And when you have wellness activities, it brings it together more. And I think the wellness actually kicks in immediately. You enjoy things more.
And I like the fact that the focus wasn't so much only on CLE, but there were a lot of opportunities to connect. I know a lot of people did the morning workout, the HIIT workout, and they did the yoga, and there was a breakfast, and there was there really was that focus on let's connect with each other as people. This isn't just a work event.
The other real attraction for me is being with a bunch of real property lawyers that speak my language. I can only speak my language with a very small niche, and I love speaking my language with others. And so, to really compare notes with you or some of the other people about, restaurant leasing or the current terms on, this, that, or the next thing is fantastic.
And then the wellness activities give you a way to bond with the other participants. And
other than just cocktails or whatever, a different way.
Yeah. And then by the time cocktails roll around, you already have friends.
Talking letters of credit for landlord, when we were just talking about that over the happy hour, it was great. Because nobody else cares. Nobody else knows.
It was funny. I was talking to someone, like a family member, and of course, oh my God, everything with SVB, and they're like, and I'm like, Silicon Valley Bank, and they're like, what everything? And I'm like, all I do is Silicon Valley Bank letters of credit. It's like the headlines, and you don't read the paper,
I mean, aside from the yoga and all that, I think just from that perspective of take a break and come and meet other people, connect with people, and explore what you're, have somebody to talk to about your similar frustrations or whatnot, makes a big difference in allowing people to have a more positive mental health experience or a more positive outlook on their careers, not having burnout. I think most legal professionals burn out after 10 years.
It was a little bit different kind of vibe, and it was more narrow, and maybe it was because also leasing was the star. So it was a particular interest, but I just thought it had a great energy, and everyone had a really positive and good time. And also because it was the first conference since before COVID, everyone was really excited to see each other and be there.
I met so many professionals who, like me, had young children at home. And one of the biggest topics we talked about was, how'd you manage? What were the ways you managed? And it wasn't so much just, and I learned from them, and they learned from me, and we kind of give each other tips. And you need that to survive in this profession, because otherwise you're the juggling act. You never really know if you're doing it right, and you're always second guessing yourself.
And then you also just get it makes you feel kind of warm and fuzzy from I'm part of something that's bigger than myself, even though I don't work at a large law firm.
We need to have that work-life balance. We need to have that family dynamic. We need to have the support of our peers and building those friendships and having health and wellness, like exercise and getting outside and doing something different and new and changing that up. So I think that's what we've done.
I think it's a nice combination of events. I like it very much. And I also appreciate that the seminars that they have tend to be very substantive for the most part. And they usually give you something that you can take away.
This year was, I think, the most enjoyable conference that I've been to.
That was the greatest part, I think, was just the people and getting to be with and talk to and get to know other people throughout the state that do the same thing that I do day in and day out.
Stay tuned. I look forward to sharing our experiences of the conference with you.
I have never in my life gotten more applause.
Well, is a hamburger a sandwich? The answer is yes. Is a hot dog a sandwich? The answer is yes. New York recently clarified for us that a burrito is not.
I mean, who knew? I am that old. God, that's terrible. Anyway, all I'm saying is,
we'll do a panel on going direct next year.
I'm excited to announce that registration is now open for the 2024 Real Property Law Retreat and 9th Annual Women in Commercial Leasing Law Symposium, which will take place in Palm Springs from March 8 to 10. Please check out the website. We've got the full program up there. There will be 4 great commercial leasing seminars, as well as seminars on federal Indian law and many other great real property topics. I hope to see you there. The podcast is sponsored in part by Commercial Leasing Law Seminars. This is my online platform where I offer e-courses in commercial leasing topics. I have 2 courses on the AIR form leases. My next course, which is a combination of pre-recorded videos and weekly Zooms, will launch on January 22nd. This is the 3rd time I'm offering the course. I've had really positive feedback on the course, which is a deep dive into letters of intent as a vehicle for learning commercial leasing basics. And then finally, I'm very excited to be launching my newest course, which is on drafting and negotiating commercial leases. We will be doing a deep dive into all the basic provisions of a lease. And if you're familiar with commercial leasing, you'll know that's a lot. But we're going to really break it down in this 6-week course and provide you with lots of guidance on how to really up your commercial leasing game. So I hope to see you at the annual conference, and I certainly hope to see you as well in some of my courses.